Cracked the code so far with this group of offensive players. That man right there is getting frustrated because guys are not getting open.
He's pissed because that's 7 points right now, telling his offense can't go 40 yards right now.
Was the outer in? But the problem is they have no challenges. Knocked down by Breland, denying the Patriots.
We're on to Cincinnati.
You think having a 37-year-old?
We're on to Cincinnati.
So after losing back-to-back games, the Patriots are still the 2 seed in the AFC. Their 3 losses this season, all to division leaders, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Houston. Our Mike Giardi, he's also on to Cincinnati with more on New England's plan to lock it up with a win tomorrow.
After missing his first practice on Wednesday, dealing with both knee and shoulder ailments, Julian Edelman returned to be with teammates both on Thursday and Friday, although reporters didn't get a chance to ask him how he was feeling. Per a source, Edelman receiving extra treatment on Friday in hopes that he is good to go for Sunday's game in Cincinnati. Patriots desperately need him. He's been their best playmaker, and the offense under Tom Brady has really scuffled since Week 9, averaging less than 18 points per game, which is 30th in the National Football League. Brady talked today about maximizing the team's potential, although he's not quite sure what that potential is going to be.
Thank you, Mike. Sure, the Patriots are 10-3, but it's not because Tom Brady is playing his best football. In fact, many of his numbers are as bad as they've ever been in a long time here. That includes touchdowns per game. His passer rating is his worst since 2003. But before we talk about the Patriots offense, the big news this week, the NFL's investigation of New England after a photographer was working for their house production team was caught filming the Bengals sideline. So Garofolo, where are we with this right now?
This is not your typical investigation with the potentially guilty party denying it. What's up, Sean O'Hara's?
Hey.
This is them admit, like, yeah, we did it, but it wasn't for what people are alleging that we did it for. What the Bengals are, the Bengals want an answer on what was going on there and how this footage was going to be used. The Patriots are saying that it was completely innocent. The biggest thing here is you would think that everything's kind of wrapped up and it would be done already, but I'm told there's really no timetable for this one, and they're going to take their time to continue to investigate this one. So this could hang out there for a little longer.
Feels like something they could probably put to bed pretty quickly, but we'll see what happens. As for the actual game here, the Patriots will clinch a playoff spot with a win. But what's worrying you guys most about them after back-to-back losses here?
Well, for me, it's really the run game for the Patriots, or lack thereof. So how fitting that they need a get-right game, and just as the schedule would have it, they get the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the worst run defense in the entire league. They've given up more yards than any defense, 156 yards a game on the ground they're giving up, which is just what the Patriots need, because we could talk about Tom Brady all we want. I feel like at some point in time in the season, every single year, the Patriots go on this 3 or 4 week run where they're just mashing the football. They're running for 200 yards, and they just basically say, we're going to morph our offense, and we're going to take over games and be physical, give Tom's arm a little break. They haven't really done it this year. They don't have a single 100-yard rusher this entire season. 91 yards by Sony Michel in Week 5 is the highest rushing game they've had. So I think this could be the game that you see them just, hey, look, we're just going to run the football. Let's keep it on the ground. I'm sure they'll know exactly what personnel the Bengals are in because they have all the signs and they've got all the information they need.
Listen, as a team, they average 3.5 yards per carry, and they can't get it done on the ground. And that's going to be a problem when they need to play keep away from teams like the Chiefs or the Ravens down the stretch here. But what else is bothering you guys?
Look, for me, it's this defense. And I know I sound crazy because this is a historic defense right now when you talk about the rankings and some of the things they've done. But for me, as a DB, like, coach, stop blitzing. Like, okay. As a DB, if you slip, if you make one little mistake, if you look one way, if you hesitate one little way, you get beat. And this team does not need to blitz. They are good enough in their personnel. They can just rush forward. They are so athletic defensively, man. They can do so many different things that, for me, is just, if you don't blitz, you have a chance to be successful. Let me run off some numbers to you. New England has blitzed 7 more times than any other team. When blitzing, they've given up 7 touchdowns and they've gotten 7 interceptions. But the most telling number, when they haven't blitzed, they've given up 2 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. This is a defense that gets the football. And they don't need pressure to get the football. Let them just sit back in their zones and in their man-to-mans because they have some lockdown DBs, and they can get the job done. For me, it's just stop blitzing.
What if I
Because I'm a
gave
DB. Stop blitzing.
like it.
We don't like blitzing.
What if I gave you another pass rusher? Just another guy you can throw in there to help create some.
Oh, man, I'll take that all day. What's up?
What about if it was Terrell Suggs? What if? Now, I don't have any inside info on this
Whoa.
one, but I'm just looking at it saying this because you keep away potentially from the Ravens, who would probably welcome him back. Number one. Number two, you give yourself a situational pass rusher that knows how to play deep into January.
Yeah.
And maybe he's got some secrets. Maybe he's got some of that downloadable info that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Because you saw Belichick during the game against the Ravens scribbling things down, trying to figure out a way to solve Lamar Jackson. Maybe Terrell Suggs knows some stuff.
That'd be good. Either way, this offense, they have to get right.
Yeah.
And especially if Julian Edelman is banged up, because this is a team that really misses Gronk. And they miss him in the passing game. They miss him in the running game. When they had Gronk, teams were doubling him, and that made Julian Edelman a great number 2 option. And he's been good, Julian Edelman, this year as a number 1 stats-wise, but people are noticing him more and more, and there's way more attention on him, and this team just doesn't have another wide receiver who stepped up yet. N'Keal Harry, that was unfortunate last week because that was a touchdown.
Yeah.
That, of course, they couldn't challenge it because they ran out of challenges.
Yep.
But besides that, I don't know who the number 2 wide receiver on this team is, because maybe it's a running back. Maybe it's James
Maybe it's
White.
Rex
Yes, it is, James
Right.
White. Yeah.
What they've asked of Harry is to start being a little bit more physical, and Gronk was that physical presence.
Yeah.
So we'll see if maybe he can deliver.
All right, well, can clinch home field with losses by the Pats and the Chiefs tomorrow. They're the 2 and 3 seeds, and the Bills and Steelers are 5 and 6. Plus, they play each other on Sunday night. That's going to be a great matchup. The Texans and Titans, another good one, are 4 and 7, and they play each other too. So, a lot of good games. Let's get to the walkthrough, starting with the AFC South race. Texans and Titans, both 8 and 5, playing each other twice in the next 3 weeks. Houston's won the division 3 of the last 4 years, and they currently have the tiebreaker based on the division record. The Titans, on the other hand, haven't finished in first place since 2008. So, D-Hall, what's this going to come down to?
For me, this game comes down to Houston's defense. For the longest time, I'm so enamored with this Houston offense that sometimes I forget this defense is just average at best.
Yeah, they settle for average.
I think about that, that game against the Patriots, and it's like, man, they went out there and they played inspiring football, defensively, offensively. But when you watch them consistently on defense, they just give up too many plays. And so I don't know how they win this football game unless this defense is locked in, because it's not about the offense. We know they got to protect Deshaun Watson. We know the kind of impact player he is. It's all about this defense of Romeo Cornell, in my opinion.
You're going to beat the Patriots and then lose to the Broncos?
What are they doing?
Come on.
Rookie quarterback, man.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you want to tackle Derrick Henry right now.
Nobody does.
Nobody.
Bills and Steelers trying to hang on to that wild card spot. Buffalo played Baltimore tough last week, but they couldn't pull off the win. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's won 3 in a row, 7 of 8. And Duck Hodges makes his 4th start tomorrow night. So, Sean, how's this going to play out?
Yeah, Colleen, a couple of young gun quarterbacks in this. Josh Allen, Hodges, one's a Duck, one's a Bill. There's something you can play with there. I think when you look at this Steelers defense right now, just their ability to get after the quarterback, and it's not just one guy. It's Hayward inside, it's Watt on the outside, Dupree on the outside. So Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, it's his job to find a way to slow those guys down, whether it's the screens, draws, chips, help your offensive line out. And then really for Josh Allen, I've got to find a way to win on 3rd down. Last week I watched him take 6 sacks. 3 of them were on 3rd down, and a lot of it was because he just didn't know where to go with the football. All of a sudden, Cole Beasley, they took him out, and now he had to eat the football. So, Josh Allen, you got to find those rushers and find a way to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, and the Steelers have all these takeaways too, so be careful of that, Josh Allen, come tomorrow. In the NFC North, Bears and Packers will become the first team in NFL history, the first teams in NFL history, to play each other 200 times, including the postseason. Green Bay can clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Rams loss. Chicago's eliminated with a loss and either a Rams or Vikings win. So, Jeezy, what's up here?
Allen Robinson, really balling the last 3 games, 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, and being treated like a number 1 wide receiver. Defenses are really starting to give him some respect. But despite that, he is still finding a way to get the football. The Bears did a great job as far as the confidence they had in him coming off the ACL to sign him. And guess what? For Allen Robinson, because of the ACL, it was a shorter deal. He's heading into a contract year next year. It was a really good deal on a per-year basis. He's going to get paid again if he continues to ball like this. God bless you, Allen Robinson. Way to come back from that ACL. He is balling.
Good for him. And then another huge NFC matchup, Rams at Cowboys, the Rams suddenly, they look great, while Dallas is clearly playing their worst after 3 straight losses, one of those to the aforementioned Bears. These two met in the playoffs last year and are fighting to get back in this season. Our Jane Slater is in Frisco, Texas with the latest.
The Cowboys-Rams game on Sunday may not have divisional implications, but it certainly has playoff ones. The Cowboys essentially need to win this one as well as the one against the Eagles to ensure they get a spot. And then as for the Rams, it was safety Eric Weddle who told me they can't afford to lose because they likely need to win out if they want a shot at the postseason. Dak Prescott knows how frustrated this locker room has gotten as well as the fans, but he said, quote, "You have to keep beating the drum. It's going to happen. It's going to break. And when it does, it's going to be when it matters most." Now, the Cowboys are going to have their hands full trying to contain Todd Gurley, who's really come on in recent weeks, but they'll have to do that without their starting linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, and Sean Lee has missed 3 straight days of practice.
Thank you, Jane. So the Cowboys really hurting